One of the things our minds do very well is to constantly update our working model of the world around us. The human mind is always making associations and links of circumstances, events, actions, and outcomes so that we can anticipate some kind of structure for our lives. This working model of reality is what helps us form ideas of what is normal or abnormal on a moment to moment basis. This feature of our minds is incredibly powerful and necessary, but we often take for granted how it impacts our perceptions. Here's a question for you. How many animals of each kind did Moses take into the ark? Did you come up with a number? And more importantly, did you catch the mistake? The answer is 0 because Moses did not take any animals into the ark. Noah did. So many people fall for this setup that it is actually called the Moses illusion. Your mind quickly recognized the biblical context and happily recognized Moses as associated with it, even though he was not part of that particular biblical story. Our minds immediately grasped a context and association and launched head forward into it without further analysis. Notice, however, if we replaced Moses with George W. Bush, your mind would have immediately recognized the break in associations and would have caught the trick. As long as our mind senses coherence, it tends to go with the flow. Consider another example. Read this sentence. After spending a day exploring beautiful sights in the crowded streets of New York, Jane discovered that her wallet was missing. When asked what words people associated with this brief sentence, people strongly associated the word pickpocket with the story. Keep in mind the wallet could have been lost for many reasons, but our associative minds went to work and started drawing its own conclusions based on our impressions of petty crime in New York, etc. Now, observe these images and think about what you saw. When shown a similar series of images, most people describe the red ball being launched by the blue ball. Even though we mentally know there is no real physical contact causing the motion, our mind automatically sees an illusion of causality that we uncritically accept. But this impression of causality goes beyond physics and visual relationships. It even extends to the way we perceive and describe intent. In one experiment, a short film was shown of a large triangle, a small triangle, and a circle moving around the shape of a house. The movements of the shapes showed the smaller shapes attempting to join forces to defeat the bullying large triangle that appeared to be standing in the way of the house. There were no words, no narratives, just shapes moving in some coordination around the schematic of a house. As Daniel Kahneman writes in Chapter 6 of Thinking Fast and Slow, the perception of intention and emotion is irresistible. Only people afflicted with autism do not experience it. The shapes had no personal agency, but our minds project motives and stories because that is what we are wired to do.